Hello. I have to do the intro, I guess. We welcome to Aftermath Hours, Aftermath podcast about stuff, video games nominally.
Much more this week.
Yeah, we're this week we are talking about the big event that is happening after this podcast is over, which is the Jeff Keighley Awards, the Game Awards, which we I think have differing levels of ire or frustration with, but we wanted to talk about why we don't really cover this event in the way that we would have previously at a more news focused site like Kotaku, where we all worked.
Yeah.
Riley is making "I disagree with you" face.
Anyway,
I was
who are
thinking
these
about
people, Gita? Gita,
Yeah.
who are these people? Who are
Fuck,
these
I
wonderful
forgot.
people?
I'm Gita, and that's who I am, and I'm wearing my favorite sweater. It's covered in mushrooms, and I'm joined by Chris Person, who
Hey.
is a wonderful guy,
Aw.
and Riley. Yeah, I love Chris, and Riley
Aw.
McLeod, who's also a wonderful guy. Your apartment looks much more cozy than the last time I saw the background of your your apartment.
Every time someone comments on my apartment, it lives in my head forever. I think a while ago you had said something about my apartment in like a meeting, and it still lives in my head.
Oh no,
Like just today, and this happened to me a while ago where a friend of mine had come over and they had like years and years ago and they'd called my apartment a shithole, and it still lives
Oh.
like every so often.
I don't think it's a
think
shithole,
about
but I like the
It's not a
plants.
shithole.
I'm glad that
It
you
is.
have the
No.
plants now.
You
The
have a
plants,
great
I have
location,
them.
by the way. I just want to
I
say
have a
your
good-
yeah.
location rocks.
It's so good.
That's why it looks for people who can't see my house. It's quite small and a little bit janky. But the trade-off is that I live in the rich people neighborhood for very little money. Like Chuck Schumer lives near me. So I'm like a little spy in the rich people neighborhood, but I live in a janky.
That's really
little-
funny.
Anyway, the plants live there because the heat went on, and so the plants have to live away from the heat. But they're
Yeah, because they'll
a
be
little
upset.
unhappy. They're a little unhappy over there. So.
They just don't like to be moved. That's like a big
Yeah.
problem with plants. They don't want to be moved. Change when a plant can't get up and walk, right? So if you change its location, it's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this week, yes, we are talking about why we just don't cover the Game Awards like other video game news sites, and then also the stuff that we are actually playing that
Yeah.
we really enjoy that is going to get overlooked during the Game of the Year season. And I want to talk. Why don't we just talk about what is your relationship to the Game Awards? Do you enjoy watching this every year? Who wants to? I mean, I know the answer for me is no, but Chris, what do you think?
So like my attitude, I saw somebody post the Wojak. It was like a 4chan screenshot. The Wojak where there's like he's like meditating in like a Buddha in the orange like Buddhist, and he's like, I will not watch the movie, and they're like, well, it'll make $1 billion, and then a close up of the Wojak's face, and he says $1 billion minus 1, and and it's a classic meme, but it is literally like, I don't think anybody should watch it like voluntarily. Like I saw somebody respect. Say they like rent out like the back of a bar and hang out with their friends, and I'm like, that sounds fun, but also that seems like you wasted some money a little bit.
Why don't you just do that normally? Like, why don't you just rent out a bar and put a movie on?
I mean, I guess like it's like sort of like a value neutral thing at the end of the day, because it's like you still hang out with your friends, you know, whatever you want to do. I just don't think I think it's like there, like I know Luke is just like, don't look at it, you know what I mean? I think you should be like my personal stance is that I'm a sin eater for the culture. Like I'm like the giver, like in the Lois Lowry story, where it's like it's just Jeff announcing a game that like nobody cares about, or like not even that, like it just feels like it was generated in a lab, you know what I mean? It's like here's an extraction shooter with retro 80s vibes, and occasionally that leads to something funny, including one of the games we're going to talk about today, which is Dark Pac-Man, which came out this summer. And but mostly it's just like I think if you're a critic, the relationship is different, and I think it's important to sort of like look at the culture, but also there's like 5 of us and we don't have to, because that's not what makes our fucking money.
Yeah, there was a time that Riley remembers where we covered the Game Awards like news. And there was a chosen crew of us that stayed up late and watched it live. and posted all the wins and different announcements and all the different trailers. And Riley, you've said previously in meetings that there is something about the Keeleys that you enjoy, and I'd love to hear from that.
I mean, I think I've been at sites like we were at Kotaku, and you cover all the things. At the one year that I got to cover them at the Post, we did a live blog and we covered everything, which was crazy.
That sounds nuts.
It was humongously successful for traffic, and and that is good, and it looks good to the higher ups who don't understand what video games are because they go, oh, a lot of people read this. I think, the awards themselves, like, do I want to watch them? Am I excited about them? No. But I think I've got a bit of like journalist brain in that whatever I think about them, they are a thing that is happening. And so
Yeah.
I feel obligated to watch it
It is an
because
event.
readers are gonna know about it.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
And
Like
it is true
know,
that the industry at large has bought into it. Like they go.
yeah.
Like leaders in the industry go. It's no longer just a series of sponsored celebrity appearances, at least in the audience. Although there was that Alyssa Mercanti article over Kotaku that talked a
Yeah.
little bit about how that can be kind of fraught. But it is something where industry leaders are recognized, and occasionally there are people who are not in the leadership space but are just sort of like good people in the industry are also lifted up and recognized. The one thing I look forward to every year from the Game Awards, which to me like demonstrates its potential that it squanders, is the medley of all of the themes from the game
Yeah.
of the year, the game of the year nominees. That is like a very pure and wholesome aspect to it, and it
Yeah.
feels like the games are being honored in terms of like just elevating parts of them and showing the game to you. So many of those awards, like the people will be on stage for 0.2 seconds, or the awards are given out during the pre-show, or they're
So
given out
weird.
off screen, and you like don't know what the award is for. At the Oscars, I feel like, which Keeley is clearly modeling this award show off of the Oscars and the Emmys and the Golden Globes, they at least explain to you what the award is being given for, so you like have a context for that. And they are not doing announcements and premieres. For me, it's like the glut of ads during that show
Yeah.
really,
It's
really depresses me.
it is.
I
I
hate
will
when
say,
you can't tell if it's a trailer or an ad, where something else started
Yeah.
playing, and I'm like, trailer, and then I'm like, oh no, ad.
I do think that on some level there is this element to me personally of honesty to how
Mm.
gross it is. I don't know. I think I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm not sure if anyone saw Ryan Coogler this week mentioned like why he just declined his
Yeah.
Academy invite. He was
I saw
basically
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good quote. He's just like I don't know, that shit's stressful. But like there's also this other thing element to it of like if we're gonna bring attention to these things, it sort of divorces itself from the people who work in the film industry, the blue collar people. And I actually have the quote here.
Mhm.
It's I don't buy into this versus that, or this movie wasn't good enough to make the list. He told in 2001, he says, I love movies. For me, that's good enough. If I'm going to be part of organizations, they're going to be labor unions where we're figuring out how to take care of each other's family and health insurance. But I know that these things bring exposure. But like this, that was like an older thing. I think there's multiple quotes where he's just like, I don't want to do that.
He doesn't fuck with it. He doesn't. He says he doesn't really like the
He doesn't
glamour
really like
red
it. He think,
carpet.
yeah.
He doesn't like that stuff, which
He's
is
cool.
part of what being a director in the academy does mean. That you become like an elder statesman, essentially. You become like what Del Toro does, so sort of a evangelist for the art form
Yeah.
itself. And Kugler doesn't want to do that. He wants to make his fucking black people vampire movies. You
Yeah.
know, like
This
I
is why
love that
Coogler's
shit.
great. This is why Coogler's
Yeah.
great. I like say what you will. Like I know some people who didn't like Sinners, but even they were like, "Yeah, it's a fun movie." You know what I mean? And like that's he
Yeah.
knows how to make a fucking fun movie. And like
Absolutely.
I
Black
love Sinners,
people-
but like it's just
I loved Sinners, and I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
it was a cinematic achievement.
Yeah.
Black people, more importantly, though, Black people are going to be doing midnight screenings of that movie on Halloween for decades.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that is good. Movie is going to pay for itself in dividends. And then, like, can you imagine just Black children on a sleepover? I know, an unlikely event, but if were it to happen, Black children on a sleepover watching Sinners at midnight, that would be.
That'd be nice.
That's what that movie is for, right?
I don't
that
know
movie
children. It's a little sexual, but like I'd say
a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 16-year-old. Just
Yeah,
hooting and hollering. There's
I,
texture in there if you're old enough to understand the
I,
symbolic layers, but
I,
also it's a vampire flick.
I
Yeah.
watched a lot of R-rated movies when I was a teenager, so
Oh my god. My parents let me watch X-Files. I don't know why they did that. It's
yeah.
fucked up.
But
But
I do
no,
think.
yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to step on your
No,
line
no, no. I'm just
there.
trying to bring us back to the Game Awards, basically. I'm
Yeah.
just, like, for me, I watch this and I pay attention to and care about, though I no longer watch, like the film award season stuff, and it feels like embarrassing that this is like the ends up being the flagship show of every year of video games, because at the very least really good movies are overlooked every year for the
Yeah.
Oscars, and like the Best Picture winner is like I think guaranteed to be bad pretty much every year. But it doesn't feel like I'm being advertised to. It feels like Hollywood's having its big jerk off fest every year. But the Game Awards make me feel like I'm watching just a series of commercials. Like I keep waiting for the event to happen, but then I realize like there's no event. It's just an excuse to play a bunch of ads. Our friend Ys-alike on Twitter, Alex Perry, has said for several times that this event would be tolerable if they stopped the pretense of it being an award show. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel.
Why
If this
don't?
was Winter Games Fest, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't they announce movies at the Oscars? But you wouldn't watch the Game Awards if it was just awards, the way you would the Oscars. I
Yeah,
don't think.
I there is
I
a
don't
lack
think.
of respect
Yeah.
for the labor that goes into the games, from the culture, and I think that the Game Awards reflects the fact that the Game Awards has been successful reflects that we kind of don't want to celebrate each individual workers that make games. We want to celebrate games, the industry, which means celebrating new releases. And I remember a few years ago at the Academy Awards, not the Academy, at the Grammys, when Taylor Swift announced that she was releasing a new album, that was seen as a real faux pas when she won
Ooh.
Album of the Year.
Yeah.
People were not happy about that.
Huh.
That's in a world that is like capitalist driven as pop music, it just feels strange that like there's a line there that does not exist in video games.
Yeah. Huh. How funny. I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
Never
really
thought about it.
funny, like
Mm.
just generally, like the category of games that get the games, because like you do get some like freak stuff in there occasionally. You know what I mean? Like, but it always seems to happen like despite the awards. You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
Yeah. The awards are not the draw. You know.
Yeah.
it's like ball pit, you know, or like blueprints being there is like nice, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like for the most part, it's gonna be just, and you know, Claire obscure. It's these things that like escape, that like Jeff has to pay attention to. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
critics and like. But I was joking online. I was like, yeah, like imagining if he like had to do like a montage where you had like Beyond Citadel and Psycho Patrol R in there, and then
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
it just cuts to Jeff's face, and it just looks like all of the like he lost 5 or 10 pints of blood because he had to
Yeah.
look at
I
like
mean, is
Eroguro like
Yeah.
anime girls.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect him to. It's like you're never gonna. I think that's what the theme of this is like there's a bunch of stuff that comes out in like December that ends up
Mhm.
being some of my favorite games of the year, period.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You introduced me to two games that I just played for 10 minutes each that have shot up my charts in terms
yeah,
of game of the
yeah,
year.
yeah, they're real good. It could be
Oh
any of
my
them, but I
god.
know which ones they are. Yeah.
is part of the difference, like when you think about like the BAFTAs, you know, the BAFTAs are awarded by an organization with prestige, but like who wins the
Don't
Game
have
Awards? I'm
any.
sure they've said in the past who the judges are, but like they feel like they're like they're
It's
not
like
awarded
a
by
critics.
combination of audience vote and a collection of
Yeah,
critics. And like that's
yeah,
another
it's
thing.
like
I don't think we should be a part of this. I at Vice we were part of the voting body for the Game Awards
oh,
like
interesting.
media organization.
Yeah, I've
And
never
like
heard of
it revealed to me like how
Yeah, that's
dumb
tacky.
that is. It's like tacky and dumb. Number one, I want to see what the industry itself holds up as an achievement. I
Right,
don't want
yeah,
to
as
be
a
a part of that.
journalist, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
my place to award
No.
games
No,
things.
it's not, unless it's for my personal list.
Yeah.
When I submitted my ballot of what I think should be nominated for something, it was just like Crusader Kings 3. And of course, that year, Crusader Kings 3 was not mentioned at all because I was the only person championing it. You
Yeah.
know, and it's you end up with this mean of kind of the most popular games of the year, and I think it would be more, you would see a more diverse range of games nominated if they cut out media. Like I don't think we should
For good and
be.
bad, I will say, because then you'd
Yeah.
get a lot more like big
Who's you gonna
AAA
say?
titles that like none of us want to play. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you know,
Hmm.
you'd get a lot of. I feel like you would, uh, like when what do you call it? Like when Black Myth Wukong came out. I don't know. That did
Mhm.
actually get nominated. Never mind. Fuck it. Never mind. I'm
It
sorry.
did.
I was
No,
fake.
no, no.
That was fake. But you know that kind of thing that like there are media critic biases, but also like that's the other thing is like there's like not that many of us left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
how many of
No,
us
that's
are
for sure.
there? Do we really need to care? It kind of promotes itself. You know, like it's kind of a self perpetuating thing in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like the thing that gives the Oscars its credibility is that the Academy exists, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
these are people that work on films in a huge number of different ways. So it's
Yeah.
not just like all the big directors, but it's people who do sound and like understand what makes sound good in a movie. And they get to vote for categories that they're knowledgeable in. A lot of Academy members apparently don't watch all the movies and vote for things in categories where they don't know anything. But that is what comes with having a big tent that you allow people in. I more than I want media to be involved, I want to see what consumer soft products would have voted for and would have nominated. Right? I want those people to have a voice, right?
I
Like,
feel like I feel like they would
he
just
would just
send back.
nominate.
They would just send back like something really cryptic, like just a
Yeah,
physical object that's like really troubling looking. Not even a
like
vote.
like every single nomination line is a different line of a suicide note.
Yeah,
It's like,
they just cut out magazine letters and send it back.
yeah, God. But still, like, those two, that to me is the game industry as much as the AAA space.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
yeah.
is really an award show just about the AAA space. They pretend with categories like Games for Impact, which is really just like the diversity award. And it feels
Ooh.
insulting every year.
Yeah, I always felt that was one of those like none of my business kind of things, but like I would see just increasingly number of people being like, "Man, this is a bummer," and I just don't like how it's supposed to, you know, how it's gonna. I don't like how it's executed. Let's just say.
Yeah, no, it really does feel like, hey, nigga, shut up. Like, the award. Like, that's what it feels like to me.
Okay.
Like, that's sorry, I get to
No,
say it. Fuck
no,
you.
no. I know. I'm not. I get to do the like awkward like. All right then. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Perfect. Thank you for playing your
See,
role.
there you
Thank
go.
you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
being an ally.
I'm being an ally. I'm being a
Yeah.
rogue ally instead of a member of the kingdom of gaming.
I like it when we can make Riley laugh. That makes me happy. No, but I mean, Riley, we've talked a little bit about queerness and we've talked. Like, this is an ongoing conversation that we have but like behind the scenes, right? About queer games and what diversity means in games. What does it mean to be a game quote for impact? A lot of the a lot of the categories also
Yeah, most
feel
people
really
hate that.
condescending. Yeah.
Yeah. The it thinks it's people of games, but
Oh, ow,
um,
ow.
Fuck.
Here's the
that
thing
was
people
a
don't realize about Riley. Riley will just fucking drop some shit that's just really fucking mean
yeah,
occasionally.
when I ran a trans press way back in the day, a lot of our reviews would start with all of this like weird, like no one knows how many trans people there are and all this weird stuff. And our joke was always, oh, it thinks it's people. Like, oh, you made a little book, did you? And so I feel like, which I guess has passed very much now. This happened to me this week. I was reading a book by a trans person. I didn't like it very much, and I texted another friend to be like, should I keep reading this? And she was like, no, like you don't have to. And I used to feel really obligated. And I was like, oh wait, I can
Yeah.
just not like this book and
Yeah.
send it back to the library. I don't have to do this anymore.
A
Like,
lot of people
Yeah.
I know with like
you wrote a book and I don't like it.
it's like a lot of
sweet.
people I know watching like we're all going to the World's Fair or TV Glow and just being like I don't have to watch this. I'm sorry, and who are trans and just being like I don't fucking and I'm like yeah, it's
you just
fine.
don't
No,
like
it's
You
like
just,
for
you just
me,
walk
it's like,
away. Just get like the
Selma is
skeleton.
a movie I don't have to watch, right? Like all those like civil rights era movies, like those are for y'all. I don't need them. And I think that like South of Midnight is a little bit different from that. That is a game like for Black people very consciously. But the games for Impact, like it feels like Amelia Perez sometimes, where I look at the stuff that's nominated. I'm like,
Penis
I
to
never watched it.
vagina. It's really
I
bad.
meant to watch it.
Oh, I watched
Yeah.
it.
Riley, don't watch it. It will make you upset.
I
You
really like musicals, but everybody said it was like bad, not good
Oh,
bad.
it's not at
Um,
all like the It wants to be a Jacques Demy thing, but it's not.
yeah.
It's really not.
We
they
talked
already
about
have
this.
this
We already
movie.
had this discussion a while ago, I think, when it came out.
Yeah.
It was not good. But yeah,
Yeah,
there
Cactus Galactus says specifically if you like musicals, do not watch it.
just watch
I
Phantom of the
do very
Paradise. That's
much.
always if you think you're gonna watch a bad musical, just watch Phantom of the Paradise. You cannot go wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I want to talk about some things that are games that I'm playing because I decided to play 4 different games this week.
Yes.
And
Okay, can we talk about first? I want to talk to you about these are the games that come out that like make us go sicko mode, like the stuff that makes me really happy and excited to play games, but will never really be elevated at an award show like this. But I want to talk to you about Chris. Many months ago, I was watching a video by this YouTuber Iron Pineapple, who does this thing called Steam Dumpster Diving, where he looks at every game that's tagged Souls-like,
Yep.
or that people tell him is a Souls-like,
Yep.
and he tries it. Riley, these videos are amazing if you haven't seen them. I
Iron
would actually
Pineapple's great.
really fun. I love Iron Pineapple. Iron
I love
Pineapple hit
Iron
us up.
Pineapple. Yeah, Iron
Yeah,
Pineapple, we love you. I think you're one of the good YouTubers.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
very high praise from me because I hate most YouTubers.
Yeah.
Not counting previous guests, obviously.
Yeah, those are the ones we also like.
And who are our friends also. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. No, but Iron Pineapple has an incredibly like specific knowledge of one kind of a game, and I really like how specific it is. Was it Angelic Era? Angeline Era.
Angeline
Angeline
yeah.
Era was one of the games he featured, and that
I wouldn't
sense
consider
memory.
it a Souls-like.
He uses he stretches the definition quite frequently. But I remember watching him fight the first boss that I just almost won, but I was killed with I had 1 HP left and it killed me.
The Headless Horseman guy?
No, just the fish, man.
Oh, the fish are
Just the
fucked up,
fish.
yeah.
The fish are crazy. This game is notable not only for having this JRPG style that's so charming, and not only for being one of these nostalgic polygon games, but it's an action adventure game, and it has a combat style that calls bump slash, and
Yep.
I am just
Yeah.
obsessed with it right now.
Well, if you've ever, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No, to me, it's definitely motioning towards like Ys. If anyone's a big, that's YS for people who have never phonetically heard it said out loud.
Oh, we were talking about this yesterday because I thought you kept saying geese.
Yeah, no,
A game
and
called Geese.
also this is maybe a little boss baby, guy who's only seen kind of me, but I love anything that reminds me of either like Brave Fencer Musashi. Which is a game I love, or like games that have like a polygonal art style. Because I think like whenever you see people do like retro PS1 and occasionally retro N64, although not as much, it's always like the genre that's always chosen is not really indicative of like what the diversity of that era was. Because like the thing about it is like we went from like, okay, everything has to be on a cartridge to CDs now exist. You can make a game about anything. And so like the PS1 in particular was just a fountain. It was just a fucking fire hose of just like games like all of a sudden. And a lot of them have like a really interesting shape and structure. And to me, this game is really interesting. There's a lot of blog posts by Mila Santani and Marina Kitaka. I hope I'm saying those names correctly. About the design of it. I believe they're also making a book about the design of the game. And like about
They're
like
very compelling design like ethos it described. The first chapter of it is up on their Substack, and I breezed through it before the podcast, and I will say it reminded me reading. So I used to read like Robert Yang's like design blog all the time, and it reminded me so much of what I found really compelling about game dev when I was in college. Is like, oh, this is a person that's really thinking about it as artistic practice. This is a person that is really thinking about the in like using their really weird combat style to create a very compelling environments for a player to walk through in a similar way to Yang's like old Counter-Strike mods and the way that he talks about those. It's fascinating. I think this is a really exciting they've produced a couple of different games and
Yes.
just immediately you can tell this is a really special game. This is like a very special, really specific artistic point of view.
I
And
yeah.
the music also completely fucking slaps, I have to say.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
great.
fucking
It's
good.
fucking great. I think that like there's a blog I was reading a while back that Marina put up in like 2020, and it's called "Divest from the Video Games Industry," and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
a pretty good like I think particularly after like we had like the horses blog, and then everyone was doing like the sort of uh, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this comic book. It's two cowboys fighting, and it's like I thinks comics are serious literature. I don't think comics are serious literature, and then like they fight and um, by a good friend of mine actually. But the this is a very like here's how you square your love of play with the fact that like the systems intrinsic to it are kind of fucked up and weird, and the industry it's tied to is weird, and it's a really sort of positing that these games is like moments of like joyful discovery. Yeah, there's also a really good blog that I think Mel Santani did about sort of the design of these worlds, because basically, okay, so there's like an overworld. It's kind of a top down shooter or slasher, like action game where you just run into stuff, and by running into a thing, you slash it. And then eventually you get what I can only describe as the gun that shoots exclusively up. So there's a gun
That's
that
so
only
cool.
shoots
Yeah,
up and
there's a
is reloaded.
verticality
Yeah,
in these
Oh,
levels too. Yes.
and is reloaded by slashing.
Yes.
And
So
so
and
you
then also the enemy design is designed around the fact that you only jump and bump. Those are the only two things you do.
yeah, and you get other stuff.
Essentially.
You get other
Yeah.
stuff. But what's interesting also is so there's an overworld, and when you get into the overworld, you can search, and you search by pressing Y, and so it's like a little like a little aura that you do by holding down Y, and so you can search different areas for a level, and those levels are pretty straightforward, often very simple. There's like obscene levels of difficulty in this game. It turns out, you can turn it up to like, oh, I don't think they even like I don't know who play tested this levels is my understanding, but like there's you go around the map and you sort of explore, but they never make it like so obtuse as to be feel unfair. It's usually context dependent, so it's like if there's like an alcove, there's probably a level in there, and and the design philosophy is interesting because there's always something added to whatever level you get to. Do you know what I mean? Like there is always like a new twist, which is a very like for all the shit I talk about Nintendo, that is a very Nintendo thing. Like every stage adds a new thing or a
Yeah.
new
And it
twerk, like, and it makes sense
or a
contextually.
new a new treatise from Martin Luther, which you discovered
Which
also.
I found out that Christ exists in this world, which is strange. So you do find an angel. It's very weird. Your character is kind of a hot twink with like a midriff, and there's
Oh, I
like
love him. Tets.
yeah,
He's so great.
Tats rocks, and you have everybody has like the full people, grown people have polygonal shape of what I'll say is like the beginning of Final Fantasy VII before they like realized they had
Yes.
to make the CG characters look good,
Yes, yes,
like
yes.
early on in
That's what they all
development.
look like. Yeah.
Yeah, they
It
look.
is very much drawing on your nostalgia for the early PlayStation era, like in
Mhm.
like just like the very blocky polygonal designs. Everything is more rounded because it's obviously the future where more polygons can be supported, but it's deliberately lo-fi in a way that's very charming.
Yeah, the thing about it was like, yeah, I was very surprised by like how like immediately like I was like, why did you have a big treatise by Martin Luther in here and like talking about, and I was just like it made me really fascinated because it's such a specific thing to throw in there. Although on some level it makes sense because like JRPGs will often do this thing where they'll cannibalize Christianity or
Yeah.
often Kabbalah and, you know, like
Gnosticism also plays
Gnosticism.
heavily. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to just go straight to Protestantism, I think somebody was like, is this going to be the first JRPG that
This is the first
where
Protestant JRPG.
Protestants are the villain instead of Catholics?
Oh my god, that's really funny. It's like
I'm
if Riley wrote a game. Really, it is.
but it is very funny in like to like have that in like something that is tonally otherwise like Mischief Makers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it feels
Yeah.
like a treasure game,
I
and
just
until
can't.
you
The specialness of it and like how weird it is really
yeah
reminds me tonally of Crow Country from I think last
yeah
year,
yeah
where it is mining that same kind of nostalgia filtered through an adult lens.
yeah
Except this one isn't pretending to be like an old PS1 game. This one just is like a new, very weird game that is playing all of its influences like very openly and obviously,
yeah.
including a fucked up approach to Christianity.
Crow Country does a lot of things at the end of the game that I think I didn't get a lot of people. I don't think people did like spoiler casts about Crow Country, but like the end of Crow Country is devastating in ways that
Yeah.
like only make sense if you finish it. But like what it's leading with often is something very familiar, which is like, okay, you've played Resident Evil. Here's kind of goofy, chibi Resident Evil. And this is more immediately like this is a game you'd pick up and then forget, like at like a local card shop, and then and then be like, what the fuck is this, and have no context for it. You know what I mean?
This
Like,
is
how did this get localized?
yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like before what Nier was before Nier Automata.
Yes,
Where
like
that,
yeah, Drakengard and yeah.
yeah.
It has like how did Atlas localize this kind of,
Yeah.
you know, like real weird, you know.
Yeah, it's like cutting Hitler out of the Persona 2 game that they released in the West.
They just made him cool. That's the problem. Everyone
They gave
forgets
him
this.
sunglasses.
They gave him sunglasses. They made Hitler. You don't. That's the worst thing you
No.
could do. You don't just make it. You don't here.
Don't give Hitler sunglasses.
Don't make Hitler cool Hitler. That's making it worse.
Yes. The other game that you specifically wanted to drop and like talk about in the stream, though, I don't know, Riley, did you have a chance to check out Rhythm Doctor?
No, I was gonna say I have like I think about this a lot because I feel like I like the idea of rhythm games, especially as a musician, but I think as a musician, like there's something about them I cannot get my head around. I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm not playing the song, but I'm not playing the drum beats. Like I just cannot. And like I tried to play some rhythm game recently, and I was just like, I don't like. What's wrong with me?
Musicians
like,
that
what's my disease? I don't get it. Like
for here, it really is just like, can you count to 7? It's
Okay,
a really good rhythm game, and I like it.
Well,
it is
it's
to me the
initially
platonic.
Yeah.
Initially, initially it's can you count to 7. Then it becomes can you count to 2. Then it becomes can you count to 3 different 2s. Or can you count to 3 different 7s at different beats that sometimes intersect? So it's like, for people who don't know, I think it's worth explaining what the game is a little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Bradley. I apologize.
No. I was going to tell a thoroughly unrelated story about there's 3 different ways of counting things in Irish, which I have been practicing this week.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's one for numbers, like regular numbers, there's one for people, and there's one for things. And they're all a little bit different. So can I count to 3 different ways? Yes, I can in fact count to 3 different ways.
That exists in other languages too.
It's so obnoxious. Yeah.
But
I went to the grocery store today and they asked if I wanted my receipt, and I said yes, because then I sat there at home looking at my receipt and saying how much money I had spent in Irish.
Wait, that's really cute. Wait, I wanted to show you.
Mandarin did that. I
bought Lingua Latina, the Latin textbook that's written all in Latin, and then I also got the Glossarium and the Grammatica Latina, which are like, you are supposed to have these on hand next to you if you can't understand the certain words, and they'll provide more context for that also in Latin. So it is like I think you should take a look at this, just because you're learning languages, and the way that it teaches you is so seamless. It's like really, really beautiful. Just to read and then understand as you are reading.
There's somebody's videos that I've watched, and they talk about Irish grammar in Irish, but they have subtitles because I don't understand a goddamn word they're saying, obviously. But it is helpful just to hear the words for the things in the right
Yes.
word, you know?
Yes. I mean, it must be helpful also because people actually speak Irish and no one speaks Latin
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like we
Well,
have a lot of
they
written
do at
stuff with
church.
no recordings.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
anyway, that Rhythm Doctor.
a long way
Uh,
of saying that
no,
this
no, no, no,
story.
no. Someone in the chat, IUG1A, I guess is how you would pronounce that. Is or one UG 1A.
Hmm.
Um, says it's sort of about internal rhythm, which I think is true. Is anybody here a Rhythm Tengoku or Rhythm fan?
Oh, I mean, I'm a big weird rhythm game fan, right? Like I love Elite Beat Agents. I got
Okay,
a lot
that's
of play
gonna
out of
come up.
me.
That's gonna come
Oh,
up.
I loved Elite Beat Agents back in the
Okay,
day.
okay.
What I
So
really like about Rhythm Doctor is that it's silly, kind of like Elite Beat Agents. I love the
you are on it.
you're
You're
the
on it.
game is that you're a fucking doctor and you
Mm-hmm.
play that's a rhythm game to fix people's hearts. It's really,
So
really
there
wonderful.
is there is exactly one button in this game, and that
Mhm.
is press the rhythm. And so usually it's
Yeah.
like when you start it off, it's like dun 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 pum, but like it's like bump bump bump. It's like you're hitting the seventh
Yeah.
beat, and then sometimes and occasionally the patient will have a skip beat, so you just kind of have to internalize what
Yeah,
that is. And if you're
that's the
having
second level and it fucked me up so bad.
if you're having difficulty and still need training wheels, just saying the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 out loud
Yeah.
will get your 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 out loud, which they say in Chinese, by the way, which I really appreciate. Just because it's like hey, you can fucking put. You don't have to count in English. You could count in any language. Um,
Yeah,
but
it
it's
rocks.
it's it's also just like it's the simplicity of it, and the thing that reminds me of Rhythm Tengoku, which is like sort of adjacent to like WarioWare, is that it's that like hyper stripped down simplicity. But what makes it different from that is that it's less frivolous. It is more like narrative, and to that it does remind me of Ostatake Ouendan or Elite Beat Agents, as its I guess spiritual sequel, I guess you would say, that was
Mhm.
developed for the West. Ostatake Ouendan, for people who don't know, is a if you've ever played the game Os or seen anybody play the game Os, it's a rhythm game that's like kind of like Stepmania in that
Yeah.
it uses the verbs from that original game, and then sort of riffs on it with like custom sound maps, and it's like what the real rhythm game freaks play now. But the company Inus that made it, I'm a huge. Oh God, I'm so mad that they don't make games like that anymore. um, basically the thing that they made it really good is that it was like it was a game that like had a heart to it. So each of these like levels itself would have like a narrative or like a story, or like there's a person you are helping. You are a cheerleader in a male cheerleader in Ouendan, and you are a secret agent who dances in the other one. And it also reminds me of Guitaru Man, which is also an Inus game, because I'm a huge Guitaru Man fan. I fucking love Guitaru Man. I think it's one of the best games, one of the best rhythm games ever made. It's certainly one of the most complex. Um, and what's really fascinating about Rhythm Heaven or Rhythm Doctor is that it starts off being very goofy and it remains very goofy, and then it just really does start telling really charming tiny little stories about like people in love with each other, all these little tiny things about crushes, who gets and does not get care. There's a one later about a politician who demands to be cared for first in the hospital. Parts of the narratives involve austerity within the hospital system, because now that this system is being pushed on people, the hospital manager thinks that they can cut back on people. Really interesting tiny things to do in this goofy little framework. But also, if you beat a level, like there's that first level that's just called like Samurai Techno. If you get an
Mhm.
A on that, there's another song on top of it. And there are often additional songs, and that's the dubstep version of it. And the
What?
dubstep version constantly it's like wah 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 wah, and it's just like
Oh man.
constantly mixing it up. So even within like a three thing, but you get the momentum of it, and so it's like the hard mode is like a different song. There's also, this might be a little mechanically spoilers. If you're really into this, I would maybe earmuffs it. But like, they do a thing later where
Mhm.
you beat the level. There's a level that's one of my favorites, which is just you are helping a barista through her shift, and like the
Oh.
second ward is all people who have like chemical addictions that are giving them arrhythmias. So
Mm.
smoking cigarettes, nicotine, and so she befriends the DJ who just is like slamming monsters, and the barista.
Yeah.
And there's an additional level after the level where you get her through her shift, where she's like it's these ups and downs, and they add this little extra texture of not being able to see what the actual meter is because it's obscured a little bit.
Interesting. Okay.
Um,
I like the purity of design here, where
yeah,
it's one button and one gameplay mechanic, and then they just fuck with those two things
but
frequently.
the thing that really makes the second stage interesting, the stage they give you afterwards, which is just a cigarette, the icon's just cigarettes,
That's
um,
so funny.
is that it is what they say is this is her shift after it's like kind of like settling down a little bit, like, and it's a plot based one. You can't fail it, and it just says
Mm.
press space to play the piano, and there's a backing track in the background. And speaking, Riley, to your point of how you never feel like you're playing music, there is a set chart of a song playing silently in the background, and when you press a button, it will play a note from wherever it's supposed to be in that. So it lets you noodle, and at no point does it feel like you're fucking the song up, but it's letting you just kind of improv in the background on the piano, like do 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 do,
Yeah.
and you get
Yeah.
into it, and it's like such a novel thing. I've never seen anybody do that in a rhythm game where it's like, yeah, just riff a little. We got you covered. It'll always sound good. And that's like,
Yeah.
and it really does. I was like really emotional. I was like, wow, I'm
That's
feeling
what I
something
expected.
very strong
Yeah.
about something that's goofy. And as somebody pointed out, this game's been in development for a very long time. It was a
Yeah.
Newgrounds demo.
It was not Newgrounds. It's wild. No, it feels like a game that came out 10 years ago, and I guess that's why. It feels like something I would play on a flash play on like a flash website.
2014.
2014.
Jeez.
That's so wild. Oh.
Wow. But also because I've known I DM'd Grub. I'm like, Grub, do you? I remember because we've been Grub and I like when had a podcast ages ago, and I think we fucked with Ouendan like it when it came out. And I remember being like, do you mess with Rhythm Tengoku? And he's like, I love Rhythm Tengoku. And I was like, well, check this out. And also, um, it has bongo support, I think. He was asking if it had bongo support. It has drum kit support, so you can actually play it with drums if you have a
Oh,
drum
that's
accessory.
cute.
And he was immediately like, can I plug my bongos into it? And I was like, yes, maybe you can.
Oh,
But
that's
I don't
wonderful.
know. I don't have a pair of Donkey Kongas, handy. So, but you can try. But like, just like, there's a lot of considered stuff, like, just tons of QOL stuff. Anti-spider thing. They warned you like, hey, do you want to see spiders? All the sort of accessibility things. But it's like the thing I liked about Rhythm Heaven and the thing I like about Ouendan that I don't think many people get is this like this idea to tell not necessarily adult stories, but like still ones that are compelling the way like a children's like
Yeah.
story is compelling. Like you can watch like a Miyazaki movie and it's not meant for an adult. It still fucking destroys you, and it's like that's the kind of narrative here. These aren't like really really adult narratives, at least until I get further in, and I'm sure it is. But like I don't know. Also, just it's constantly mixing stuff up. I think that's what unifies both of these two games. Is like Angeline Era is very like every stage there's something considered, and you
Yeah.
feel the thought of the person who made it and why they did it and what their perspective is, which is, I believe, what that original Melos blog is about. Sort of about considering the context of the world and the game designer wanting to do something really specific in that moment. Like this is me
Yeah.
trying a new thing, and like at every stage in both these games feels like I'm trying something new out.
Speaking of idiosyncratic games, I wanted to ask Riley about how he's enjoying Death Howl because I checked out the demo for that a couple of years ago before full release. I really liked the demo because it felt like it was taking the roguelike card builder thing and applying the Dark Souls layer on top of it in a way that in the demo felt very satisfying. But
Yeah.
let me tell it. Let me hear it.
I'm not a big Souls guy. It's the latest game by 11-bit who made Frostpunk and This War of Mine and stuff like that. And it's a Souls-like apparently. So you're a person, I think, in like mythological Scandinavia who goes to the realm of death to rescue your dead son. And you fight enemies on like a grid with cards that you craft, and you have a certain amount of mana for moves and blah blah blah. And it's neat. I like how it looks. I like the mechanics of how the battles play. It's one of those things where like to heal, you have to, when you kill a bad guy, you get a death howl, and you have to use that in order to heal at like checkpoints. And when you heal at a checkpoint, all the bad guys come back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a mechanic I like the idea of until I'm faced with it, in which case I'm like personally offended that it's happening to me. And I'm like, no, but I told you.
But I just fought all these guys.
Just
Yeah,
did
I literally feel that way. In the demo, I remember feeling really resentful of the early areas are punishing.
That's
they're
the thing
hard.
that I played like a few hours last night, and the thing I'm having trouble with is like I don't think I have enough stuff to craft better cards, and so the battles are really hard. But then when I go and I heal because I did badly, then all the guys come back, and then I gotta fight them again, and I'm not any better at fighting them
And
than
the
I was
checkpoints were pretty
before.
sparse as I remember it.
You have to fight through it, and so I'm like a little bit kind of stuck. And like I had a problem last night where I didn't have any death howls, but I didn't have enough health, and so I just kind of got a little bit like stuck in terms of like, what am I gonna like? I can't beat this battle, but I also can't heal. And I get what it's trying to do, and I think I've heard other people say that can be a little hard. I think if you're a little better at, I still, even though I understand that you have to be thoughtful and think it through, I still sort of tend to just like click buttons sometimes. I'm like, this card does the most damage. I'll do this one, and it's like, don't hang on.
One thing I'll say also is like in Dark Souls, once you get a high enough level, you can in Dark Souls, even when you're a very low level, you can just run past enemies. And I don't. That's not really possible in Death Howl, as I remember
you have to go through them.
And it's
I think
fucking annoying every time.
You're supposed to kind of grind for materials, I think, and
I think it kind of makes you, because you get in this loop. But then like the early,
for sure.
The art style and the narrative
gorgeous looking.
Is really like really really beautiful. I was blown away by this demo when I first played it.
It's quite lovely.
Yeah,
I want to give it some more time. Like I do want to get better, and I have seen myself get a little bit, better. But I think it definitely it feels in the very very early hours to me like that arc to get to being good enough feels like a bit of a steep.
It kind of forces you into that loop where you have to just grind around in the area. But it's like in Dark Souls, there's enough stuff to even just look at, where it doesn't feel like as much of a chore to go out and kill some skeletons again. In this game, it's pixels, it's 2D. None of the art is so compelling that on the 1,000th time, I'm finding more detail in it,
Yeah, I found like a secret area, but of course inside there were bad guys, and I really want to beat them because they're a different kind of guys, so they must have a different kind of thing that I need. But I just like it's these like 3 snails and a frog, and they just they like poison me.
You're getting your ass kicked by 3 snails and a frog.
Yeah, and then I'm like always poisoned, and I'm like I can't I'm getting 10 damage, and I'm like what am I supposed to do?
And like damage is like very impactful.
Yeah, because all of your cards cost action points, and then also moving costs action points. So I think like it's hard to do damage and stay out of the way of the other guys, and so it's like a little
it's very
tricky.
It's a tricky little puzzle, but like like there are times when I'm playing a Dark Souls game where I'm just like I don't want to fucking do this today.
I definitely playing it, and it's like it got a little late, and I was like, okay, I get it though. Like, can I just keep going? Like, I get what you want.
There are times when I want to just email a developer of a game, and I'm like, I get it. Can you just make it so I don't have to beat this boss now?
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel
we're
that way
patching it
about.
for you specifically.
I
I
mean,
would love that. The Gita patch.
yeah, like hot take, but I feel like when I play games with boss fights, once I understand what the boss fight wants, I'm not really interested in doing it anymore. Like I've solved the puzzle and now it's just me and my own like physical skill. And I don't think I'm one of those gamers who like takes great pride in that or something. Sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like there should be a like, oh, I get it, boss skip.
Yeah. So
But
for
I
the
like
There
game,
is
that
in Death Stranding too, actually.
in
yeah, there is.
oh my god, what's
Yeah.
it called? The southern game that
South of Midnight.
Midnight Southern Midnight. Yeah, there's an option to just skip the fights. Like you get to do it a little bit, and you just press a button, and it's like, yeah, you did it.
Yeah,
And I thought that was
yeah.
Yeah.
great.
Death
No,
Stranding
that's
2
a
Cool.
is Death Stranding 2, I think it
Yeah.
also it's because it's like kind of a sloppy those encounters are kind of sloppy and unpleasant sometimes, and I like that, but if you're not kitted out correctly, it can kind of just be tedious, and so, you know.
Yeah, in Control, there's a specific boss, and I know everyone that plays Control that knows this boss. There's a specific boss that is just like it's just a damage test. Like, if you can defeat this, you are ready for the rest of the game. And
Like,
I needed that boss the first time I played, but then every other time I played, I've turned on one hit like gun KOs with in the options for the difficulty settings, and I just skip it every single time because it's like I've learned the thing that you want me to learn about your game. I already know.
I've been meaning. I never actually finished Control, and I've been meaning forever to go back and turn on the God mode and the one hit kills and just play it for the like
Yeah,
the
I'm on
token
literally
around.
the
But
last boss
I
fight,
don't
and
want to do the fights. I don't care.
I don't
Like
want to do it anymore.
I
I
just
want to
want to
hang out in the
be in the
weird
game. Yeah.
atmosphere. This is what Luke
So
was talking about in his blog about what was that game? Chris, you remember
Oh,
the scary
routine,
game?
what did you
routine,
say?
Just the scary
routine.
game routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's just like
It's
I'm
great
a coward.
looking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to.
I
Yeah,
think a
I
lot
want
of people the harshest thing they have to say it is like it was like wow this is great it's just also amnesia a little bit or it's like
yeah,
a spooky you know what I mean it's like it's like a lot of artifice over something that's kind of fairly simple but it's really good artifice it looks so good you know.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like scary games like that are what like, what Let's Plays are invented for. Like I think I watched like Stoics the Deep or whatever. I just watched someone play a Let's Play of it because I was like, oh, it's scary. I'm not gonna play
Yeah,
it.
the Markiplier Let's Play of Soma is honestly
Yeah.
like cinema to me. I love that Let's Play. It's so good.
I would have played this if we're not playing 4 games.
Oh yeah, you've got another
Five,
2 games you want to
five
yap about.
actually. Five actually. I do want to momentarily mention Demonschool, which I did play a bunch of, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, how was that?
it's good. It's good. It's a good game. I like the combat. I think that what's really interesting about it is there's kind of a hanging out tone that feels a lot like Persona, somewhere between Persona 2 and what the Persona games became. It's isometrically looks like Persona 2, depending on which one you think of. You know,
Mhm.
Persona 2 Part 1 or
Mhm.
2, you know, Innocent Sin or
Yeah, or what
but
is it? Innocent Sin or
it's
Eternal Punishment?
I have Eternal
It's
Punishment over there.
yeah.
But I think the if I have any criticism of it, I think it like it's hard to tell what the stakes are at
Mhm.
or to keep the stakes in your head because there's kind of a light tone to it, which is nice. You know what I mean? It's a very like you're hanging out with your friends kind of game. And but the combat itself is really really good, and it reminds me a lot of a little bit of Live Alive, which is one of my favorite RPGs. Just I guess generally because it's kind of stripped down, and but it also kind of has a chess like movement to it, which I think is quite nice, where it's like less about like there's one shared AP bar, and each of these characters is kind of it's less about individual actions and what they can do and like skills and more about like team ups and like so it kind of has like this character phases through characters and does this you know this character is a diagonal does a diagonal and you can like it becomes like the if you repeat actions with a single character, it adds another AP to how much AP it takes in the pool. So if you just use one character over and over again, it's like diminishing returns. But if you use all of them a little bit, and so it's about planning out a turn in such a way that you are getting the most amount of like beating the stage isn't the hard part. It's about like maximizing it so you get it on the turn order that the game wants you to do it and you can just ignore doing that but I like doing that and so it becomes about like planning out these like encounters very very like meticulously which is really, really interesting. And I don't just say that because we had the game creator on the show. It's actually like quite nice.
Yeah, I
And
can't wait to check that one out.
it's nice. It's nice. It's a very fun game. It's a karaoke mini game, which is kind of neat. And yeah, it's very. I know. I like a game where you see its inspirations pretty much on its sleeve, and that's pretty good for me. It's a very good portable game.
Oh,
But we
that
have
sounds fantastic.
we do have two others though.
Okay, what are the other two that you're playing right now? Please.
All right, this one people have heard. I was about the shit when the demo came out, and that's Skate Story. Skate
Oh,
Story
yeah.
fucking rocks.
Tell me about Skate Story. What's the deal? What's the deal with Skate Story?
Okay, so it is a skating game, obviously. That's the easy part.
It's been in development forever as well.
This is an episode for this has been in development for forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good episode for that. Is like, oh, they've been working on this shit since before the pandemic. So, I mean, like there's like I hate just saying things that it reminds me of, but it does kind of give you a constellation of things that it reminds me of. Tony Hawk, Rez, Devil Daggers.
Yeah.
Those are the three.
Incredible.
Oh, and Arctic Eggs.
Oh yeah, you mentioned how like it reminds
It really
you of
reminds
Arctic
me a
Egg.
lot of Arctic Eggs.
How do you make that connection?
So, like, when you play Arctic Eggs, I mean, I wrote about Arctic Eggs. I love Arctic Eggs. What's interesting about Arctic Eggs is that was the game where you flip eggs, and you're in, like, the Antarctic, or the Arctic, rather, different, and in this sort of, like, almost sort of PS1's, I guess, Slav-coded space that's, like, post-apocalyptic, and the ways that it tells a story is poetic, but never up its own ass so much that you're not having fun, and often cut by absurdist humor. And so Arctic Eggs does this thing that I find quite fun, where it's like, it's telling you the poetry, it's showing you the poetry, and then before you're like, this is getting a little pretentious, it kind of like cuts your legs out from under you by having like a really goofy interaction where you just have to like cook a bunch of cigarettes. And
Yeah.
and this game does that with the basic premise is you are a demon in hell, and you would like to eat the moon or eat several moons, and in order to do so, you have to make a Faustian contract, and that involves a big actual contract that you sign that is has certain stipulations. One of which is that you are now made of glass, and another which is they get your soul. I forget the other two, but they're important to the story. And basically, it's the entire thing has, first off, one of the best soundtracks of the year. You can listen to it on its own. It's like that and Sectori are probably up there. I would say it reminds me of like Chillwave the most. Like it has that kind of like Neon Indian, like the last gasp of like indie music, kind of like good summer. I think you were talking about sort of the nostalgia of how good 2010's Brooklyn actually was. That shit was that good.
I remember seeing this like TikTok when I was flying to Thanksgiving in Los Angeles, and it was just how I imagine what it was like to live in Williamsburg in 2012, and it was just like a guy running down the street going "Yippee! Wahoo!" and it's like, yeah, it was like that.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty fucking good.
Pretty much exactly like that.
It was that with alcohol poisoning.
Oh my god, yes.
Although
just
people
throwing up in between every
you said it pretty accurately. People fucked that up because that was they're describing as Williamsburg in 2006.
Yes.
And Bushwick in 2010. Like that is like 2010. By that point, Williamsburg was already washed and already priced you out.
As an elder statesman of New York
not,
City, Riley, I do want to hear what you're grumbling about.
That is very.
I had a friend who lived in like a loft right near the Williamsburg Bridge. Like you could see the bridge from the window. It was this humongous space that we used to do everything in.
Yeah.
It was
romantic.
Just, now I think it must have been billions of dollars now. I have no idea.
Yeah. I've taken like drunken kisses on so many like multi-million dollar apartment buildings now, like
I remember I did see I forget if it could only have been, what was it, Municipal Waste or Suicidal Tendency? I think it was Municipal Waste. I saw at a loft that where the whole thing had a half pipe inside of it, and everyone was
That's
probably
crazy.
paying $600 a month. And then I think it was on the Jefferson stop. The fire doors didn't swing the right way in, and then they eventually the fire department came in, knocked the door down with an axe, and said, "Everybody, get your shit and leave.
Yeah,
You
I mean
do not
the
have
ghost
time."
the Ghost Ship Fire without Ghost Ship was an
Yeah,
independent venue in
Yeah,
Portland.
yeah.
That just changed everything for indie music
okay.
and for
But
independent venues.
Yeah,
but
it's changed my mind about living in weird death trap like
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
shithole.
you
But you were a
definitely
boat.
did.
You were a boat person. You know, in
Now I'm
that.
like, oh, okay, no, it's for
No,
real.
but I will say it does have that, like, what was the last truly chill genre? And I guess that was
Mm.
it. You know what I mean? What was the last,
Yeah.
like, skatery genre? And it does, the composers do quite a bit with more with the form. There's like a lot of sampling and a lot more um genre like bending with it. But like, it's a really interesting thing because it's like I've been thinking about like how impossible it is to make a skating game now, because it's this weird thing where like it used to be a tent pole. Like Tony Hawk game used to fucking sell systems, you know, like not to the extent that like other games did, but that was like like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was a thing that was like that's what you get when you get a Dreamcast. And it's this thing where it's not quite a sport, so you can't do sports stuff with it, even though it is a physical activity, even though it is a sport. It's not
It's in the
sports
Olympics.
game shaped. Do you know what I mean? So you can't have the sort of rentier nature that you have on a FIFA or I guess whatever the fuck, Pro Evolution Soccer, whatever, you know, like Madden, any of these games where it's like, this is the yearly one of these where it doesn't change. And so what do you do with that genre? Like Skate tried to, period skate, lowercase, tried to come out, and it was like kind of an MMO, and even people who loved Skate were like, this is okay-ish, bad maybe a little bit. And so what do you do with that genre? And the answer is you make something that's like really personal and very funny. Gita, I think you will like there is a frog in the game who is I would describe the frog like the chair from Animal Crossing if it was a guy.
Oh, wonderful. I like
And
that.
and he works at the Department of Meaning. At
Oh,
one
that's
point,
great.
it's just a building that says meaning on it, and it says, "Hello, would you like a meaning?"
Oh.
And then eventually you see him later, or them, or her, in a coffee shop where you're trying to help a pigeon with their manuscript. And in order to do that, you have to find words, and you will go find the 5-letter words that they need to write their manuscript, which is very SKATE coded, if you know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Tony Hawk way
absolutely.
of doing that. Um, is just a pigeon on a MacBook is really funny to me. Like, there's just so many
Oh,
things that are so fucking funny about this game. Like, there's
I
just so
love
many.
that.
Like, early on, you're trying to get like you have to get the hell version of the Arizona iced tea for a Roman statue bust that's wearing like, and I think when you put it on, it makes a little beer koozie. But it's very much like it's a game about like the sort of, I mean, the metaphor is like you're made of glass. Like this is a thing that you do. Skating destroys your body. Skating is a thing
Yeah,
that you need to survive to
yeah.
breathe, and it will kill you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
so the thing I mentioned this like last week, but the thing about ballerinos is that a lot of ballerinos are former professional skateboarders or people who have been semi-professional in skateboarding
yeah,
because they're just not afraid of getting hurt.
yeah,
They're
it
not
will.
afraid of getting hurt at all.
And like just the also they do a lot with like it's a very New York coded game in a way where like the idea of like New York being like Dante-esque. Do you know what I mean? Like these like layers that are neighborhoods, you
Mhm.
know. The skateboards you can get themselves are rock. There's one that is literally just that's called Flesh Made. That just is just a promise from the developer on the back of a skateboard
Oh,
that says
that's
they
sick,
did
yeah.
not use generative AI in the making of this game,
Yeah, I
and
saw
says
a screenshot of that and it
100%.
fucking rips. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
there's one that's just a gilded like Dante, like it looks like wood cuttings and stuff, like, you know what I mean, like or illuminated manuscript version of the Inferno. Like
That's
they've
so
thought
sick.
it's a very considered game. Um, I think where it differs from something like Tony Hawk is that Tony Hawk's about like, here's an arena, here's a time, here's a challenge. This is more, here's a space you hang out and do little tiny quests in, and then here's the boss. And this is the resness of it. It actually reminds me a little bit of Psychonauts. You know how Psychonauts has those little tiny things that are funny that you can do that are technically quests that do have rewards, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is to just talk to somebody funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling is like, here's a raw space and then here's a boss battle. And the boss battle reminds me a lot of Rez in that it's just like pumping and action and there's a timing element to it and there's a performance thing. But also like it's much more longboardy. Like there's a much more forward momentum to how you're playing the game. Like you're trying to do obstacles and goals and like it becomes about tricking to defeat a creature, you know what I mean? Like a giant eye or something really cool, you know, and fuck, this game rocks. It is everything I want it to be. Performance, I've heard, is a little rough on anything that isn't PC, so maybe check that. I was talking to I was looking at some people posting that maybe the PS5 Pro is somehow less well optimized than the base. I don't know.
Huh,
weird, but it works well on PC. It works okay on Steam Deck. I prefer playing it on PC.
Sounds rad. I
it's
wanted
fucking
to ask
rad.
you though about Dark Pac-Man before we get to the mailbag because what the fuck is that?
So Shadow Labyrinth is a game that came out in the summer. It was a game, again, this speaks to the game. Ties in nicely with the Game Awards because this was one of those games where everybody's like, it was a Game Awards trailer, if I remember correctly. I could be having this wrong. Everyone's like, wait a minute, are they doing Dark Pac-Man? Are they doing, like Bomberman X-Zero?
Wait, yeah. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and it came out over the summer, and it turns out it's really good. It turns out not only is it really good, I mean, like, if you go on Steam, it has very mixed reviews because people are very critical of certain parts of it. I haven't played enough of it. The strongest defender of it, I know, is my good friend, online friend, Crystal Lee, because it's a really, it turns out it's very, there's lore in Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco has a universe related to it. What is it? USMC? I always forget. There's an entire, for a better explanation than I can possibly give, because I'm not really into, Xevious and shit, just listen to the most recent Retronauts. Krista makes a very good, case for it. But, this ties into, games that didn't even come out. This ties into lore for, the Galaxian machine that uses Laserdisc. That's the size of a room that there are
wild.
2 functioning copies of, one of which my friend went to in New Hampshire. Galaxian 3. Galaxian 3 establishes the lore that connects Dig Dug to Tekken. And
this is a new discovery for me that I am very, very fascinated by. What?
Yeah, it's very it's lore that goes to a cell phone game that only came out in Japan for 2 years, directly responsible for that. But if you are a huge fan of the output of that company, there's a lot of extremely niche lore. And if you look at the time, there's a single timeline that they have maintained for it. And if you look at the PNG someone did of it, it just looks like a thin rail, because it's more complicated than anything involving Zelda. The Zelda timeline wishes it could be this simple. It's like how do you connect Ace Combat to Tekken to this one, is like fucking Universal Century, but Pac-Man's involved. And the game's pretty good. I mean, I don't feel comfortable enough to, aside from saying that it's, it's a very good game from what I've played so far. And it has shooters. It has real fucking shooters out there who are ride or die for it. And it's one of those ones I thought I'd add in there as something I was playing and I was like, oh fuck, is this really good? Is this really good? And does it and I would say it is a Metroidvania. I know we hate that term, but it is, because there are parts of it where you turn into Pac-Man and then eat the little dots, which are currency, but in a kind of Samus-y way. So Is it the best game that is like Metroid that has come out this year? Perhaps.
Huh. Wow.
In-
Is it? It perhaps. Maddie has. My wonderful friend Maddie Myers has very strong opinions on Metroid Prime 4.
I trust Maddie.
Yeah. When they're not as busy, we should probably have her on because I think it would be interesting to hear about it from
I
her.
would love to hear Maddie's extensive thoughts on on the new Metroid Prime,
Ugh,
because
she's the
everybody,
one.
it's all over the place. People cannot decide if they like that game.
I don't think she can decide in our group chat. I don't know if she thinks that she doesn't like it, but she wants to like it, and she's rationalizing these feelings right now, probably in real time in the group chat. It's been Nico
I
says,
hear,
yeah, she's been hitting the group chat hard with Metroid opinions.
I do hear that the end of that game is ass. I hear like the
Oh,
last 30
interesting.
minutes of that game fucking suck, and I've heard
I
that from
can't
multiple people.
I can't wait to hear about this. But we
Oh,
do have to hit the mailbag.
but you had something you wanted to bring up very quickly, which is
Oh
the
yeah,
real winner.
Nightrein's not going to win anything tonight, but it is the best game of the year, and I'm not sorry. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
is.
sorry.
I'd say
It
so.
is to
Yeah.
take the entire Dark Souls experience and then cram it into a battle royale. That is a feat of genius, design genius, and they didn't think it would be as successful as it is. I love it. I love it.
I wrote the original piece on it, and I think when it came out, everyone's like 7, it's okay, and I'm like, no, this is fucking great, and I think that like,
No.
and I was really critical of the DLC for Elden Ring, and this game is what you do with new talent. It's how you it's how you grow a company. Is you just say like, here you're gonna make a limited game with the assets that we already have, and you're gonna do something the opposite of what the game is, and it's gonna be interesting, and like that is
delightful and fresh. The new character classes that came out, that's what really pushed me over the edge, and just in terms of thinking, holy fucking shit, like I actually love this game. There's Scholar and Undertaker, and my friends that I play Nightreign with they're Undertaker sickos, and that's because Undertaker has an ability that just lets you use all of your abilities all the time, so you're just like doing crazy amounts of damage constantly. And then the Scholar, you level up items by using them. So you're just like running over all the items I normally would have skipped and just chomping them down. And then your ultimate heals your team and also links healing to each other. So anytime anyone uses a flask, they heal each other. And it links damage of all enemies in the vicinity of the ult together. So if you're before you get to a night boss, if you're just wandering around the field killing enemies for experience, you can just melt an entire camp if you hit that ult right at the beginning. It feels really, really, really satisfying. It is as close to what a FromSoft support character could be, and I like the ways that they're obviously inspired by other games like Overwatch and like battle royale type games, but being like, no, but we do it in our style. Like, we have to figure out what is the FromSoft style of this. Like it makes the Dark Souls model feel way less rigid than it has in the past, because you can actually apply that model to many different styles of game.
And also, importantly, the Undertaker is a nun-like character wearing leather.
Yes.
And
she's a freak.
And she licks goo off of a wall.
She's a freak. If you like Undertaker, read Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to say to you.
Everybody's like, why the fuck is she licking glowing blue goo off of a wall? And I think there are very complicated lore reasons for that, is my understanding. Like, she's like puppet-like.
She worships a dark god, whatever. Then
it's fucking
like,
cool. I don't care.
First time you talk to her, she's just like, oh, you think that guy over there is a pervert? I'm a pervert. I'm a pervert. And I don't know, that kind of rocks to me. I think Scholar is really dilfy, though. I really like him.
He's very, fuck, who's the vampire from Guilty Gear? Shit, I'm spacing out.
Oh, no, but he does look like that guy.
Yeah,
fuck. The vampire from Guilty Gear, who also is really hot to me. Riley,
Slayer.
He's just an old, distinguished man with slutty little glasses. And I'm glad that they put something in there for the girls in the game.
Yeah, he looks like Slayer, except more of a nerd. And I don't know. It's a really beautiful game, and I come at this from the perspective of like, I'm very like, I love from, but I'm very like critical of them because I do respect them because they are
Mhm.
responsible for many things that
That I
are
don't
not
like.
good. Oh, no,
Trends. Yeah.
they're responsible for trends that are outside of their hands that they popularize that other people do poorly. And
Yes.
I think that they do well because they're fucking good at what they do. But
This game
sometimes they
just
don't.
reveals like there is a level of creativity at that studio that needed an outlet for it, and
Mhm.
that we see the like far end of a lot of iteration that probably never sees the light of day. But there's like kinds of characters in this game and kinds of mechanics in this game that feel like someone somewhere got obsessed with something and that's why it's here, which is like the biggest compliment I could give to any game that comes out. But it feels like everybody that made it is obsessed with it.
Literally, also like in the service of something that we all thought was going to be ass, just because of conceptually it
Yeah.
sounds like ass. It's like oh, we're doing a battle royale using assets that you already recycled, and then they make it like one of the best things that came out this year. And I was like, no, this fucking rocks. You got to pay attention to it. It's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hit the mailbag now. It's time for
Hmm.
the mailbag. If you want to ask us questions, you need to become a paying member, subscribe to us, go to aftermath.site, and then hit the button that says subscribe. And you'll be able to join our Discord, which is where we do all our mailbag stuff. So starting with apple cider, peppermint holiday treats or desserts, yay or nay?
Peppermint.
Peppermint, like peppermint bark.
Okay, well, we found out this week.
Nah.
We found out this week that Nathan eats a comical amount of peppermint bark whenever he's home in the chat.
Yeah.
He's a peppermint bark freak, and I respect that. I don't know. I think people get weird about mint flavors. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. I understand the site, like the reason why people are like, I can only eat mint. I can't eat mint because I have of toothpaste. I'm able to walk and chew gum, so it's fine.
Yeah. No, I just can't do if I need other non-peppermint
Yes,
flavors.
I agree.
I
It's good
like
in an ice
peppermint
cream.
and chocolate. Peppermint ice cream is
Mm-hmm.
really good.
Yeah.
I like candy canes broken up and put on top of an ice cream. I'll also
Mm-hmm.
say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but the toothpaste thing only happens to me, the taste association, if I've eaten a lot of peppermint recently. And then I'm just like, what does this remind me of toothpaste? And
Mm.
but it doesn't if I know something is peppermint flavored or there's a like a cake with a peppermint frosting, it doesn't really bother me as much.
That reminds me, I need to get mint this new kind of this not new this Japanese toothpaste called like Apogard, which is like apparently regrows enamel.
Oh, that's really cool. I gotta guard to that shit because
Yeah,
I'm losing
it's
some
not my
enamel.
it's
Yeah.
not my favorite flavor, but I did the grocery store in my house closed down recently, and so everything was on sale. But by the time I got there, it was just the like dregs that nobody wanted. But one of
Ugh.
those things was peppermint extract, which I've always needed for ice cream. But I was like, I'm not gonna buy
Oh. Oh
like that.
man.
So I'm really excited to make an ice cream with it because it was like, it cost $1 or something. But now I have a whole thing of it, and I'm like, there's only one thing I can think of to do with this. Like, why do I own this now?
That's so
Before I
funny.
forget,
What's that?
apple cider. This is my favorite, one of the best 7-Up flavors, which is the zero sugar Shirley Temple. Uh,
I should grab that. I think they have
yeah,
that at my
Yeah.
bodega. I
you
have to
should. It's
try
really
that.
good. It's fucking so
Okay.
good.
Doogie2K asks, what's a holiday treat or tradition your family does that you've never heard of anyone else doing? Or alternatively, when you were introduced to by your partner, my in-laws have a tradition of giving new pajamas for Christmas Eve every year to wear for wearing on Christmas morning gift opening. Every I don't the tradition that my family does that no one else does on purpose is ruining Christmas. So I'd like to hear from other people.
My family's mostly pretty normal.
Yeah.
In terms of like bog standard, like we don't really deviate. But there is a dish that my mom made once in Thanksgiving, and I'm like, could you make that for the rest of my life? It's extremely difficult to make, and
Mm.
that's chicken pie with biscuit crust, which is just like
Oh,
it's
Oh, I
wait.
like
can do that.
yeah, I
That
know
sounds really good.
it's annoying
Sorry,
to
that
make.
made me sound like an asshole to your mom. I can do that.
No. It's just it's a lot to do on top of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because if you do that plus you're making a turkey, then it becomes an ordeal because then you have to
Yeah,
like
that's a
manage
lot.
things. Yes. But usually it was literally like it's like the insides of a pot pie and a chicken pot pie,
Yeah.
and then like biscuits on top of it. And
Oh, it's a
so,
Yeah.
finicky little kind of a dish. It's delicious though.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Riley, do you have one?
My family isn't traditions kind of
Yeah.
thing.
You have a ruined Christmas in a different way. Uh,
No, yeah, no. One year, there's a guy that my sister briefly dated in high school that my mom for a long time was like, that's the guy she should marry, even after she had moved on and in
oh
fact
my
married
god.
someone else. And I remember him like stopping by one Christmas and my mom like being weird about it. And it was like, that was like they dated for several weeks, like 10 years ago, and everyone's married to other people. Like,
Yeah.
that's awkward.
That's your family tradition of shaming your
Yeah.
sister for
Like I
not
could just remember
marrying this
sitting at
guy.
like sitting at the table watching like, the room fall silent where it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I feel you. I
How
feel
you
you on
doing?
that so hard.
That's rough.
Like the month leading up to Christmas for me is like a slow simmering panic attack where like the day before I have to fly to wherever I'm flying, I'm like fully breaking down on the floor and telling my husband every mean thing my mom has ever done to me. I really don't like Christmas at all. Um, Ghost then asks, in honor of Skate Story being released, how does it feel that the New York game dev scene finally got a much needed perfect game?
They've had a lot
They've had a lot of
good,
them.
very good
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
they had tons of that. Yeah, what do you call it? Like
Despelote was in
Despelote
there,
and all, I mean literally
Consumi
if
in
you want
there.
to talk about one apartment in in New York City, you have Despelote, Ball Pit, and what do you
Yeah.
call it? Baby Steps, all roommates.
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, I
That's
think
cool.
Yeah,
And
Gabe
they
that's
were
Gabe lives with the two devs who made Ball Pit and Despelote, and they had that
yeah, but good
really
scene.
good.
Yeah.
You should watch the most recent Despelote trailer if you have not. It is one of the best trailers because Gabe Cazillo did it and contextualizes the history of that game, and then was like, oh, by the way, this sold 18 copies. Can you please play it? And
that's so
Really?
funny.
yeah, and I
Did it
did, and
not
I bought.
sell?
It didn't sell that well, and so it was kind of a
Oh,
plea for being like, "Hey, you should play this game. It's really good." And so I paid money for it because I agree that I should play that game.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Didn't get a
Okay.
chance to.
Mish asks, do you think the AI genie, as it were, will ever go back in the bottle? Or are we cursed to sift through slop to find good media? Sorry, it's a loaded question. It's been on my mind lately. My line of thinking on this is that there's always been periods of time when it's been incredibly precarious to make art, and people have still sought out that art made by humans and wanted to see it. And I don't think that that will change.
It I
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that like it depends. That depends on what you mean. I think the cost of running inference on anything involving images is so high that if the bubble does burst, the cost of making like anything involving like video is going to be kind of rough unless like the TPUs that Google makes are so advanced that they don't consume a lot of electricity. So on that level, well, sorry, I accidentally hit my mic. So on that level, I think that will be a lot harder to do if like data centers just don't end up getting finished and like don't have electricity to plug into. I think LLMs, it's a little more complicated because you can run those locally. They're a little easier. I think that you have to divorce the technology from the bubble, and it can be hard to do that because
Mm-hmm.
at no point have we been in a situation where the bubble is different from the technology. I think it'll be like crypto, where it'll just kind of ambiently be in the background, making life shittier, but
Yeah.
you won't pay as much attention to it because it as a financial instrument to, I don't know, funnel basically all of the gains of the DAO in the last like fucking 2 or 3 years will no longer
Mm-hmm.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
And then Jensen Huang will have to sell his leather jackets. I hope it can't happen soon enough though, because I was just on Micro Center the other day, just not even looking for PC parts because I have a decent PC, but just looking around, and it's like, would you like 64 gigs of RAM for $1,000?
I don't
No,
like that.
I
I
don't like
don't
that at
like
yeah,
that.
all. I think
yeah.
we've gotten to the point where, and guess what? It's not. Everyone's like, well, if you build this is just against people who build PCs. Nope, it's gonna fuck you over too. It's gonna fuck your phone up. It's gonna fuck
Yeah.
everything up. RAM
Good
is
luck.
everything. You need it
Everything
in
has a
everything.
fucking microchip in it now, and
You
that
need
is
fucking
so
RAM.
irritating.
Your fucking oven needs RAM. Man, shut up.
Your oven needs RAM, your fridge needs RAM, your television needs RAM. It feels ridiculous. And I think
Not
that
my
is gonna,
shitty fridge.
yeah, that's true. If you just get shitty
Shithole for the
fridges,
win. Yeah, my 20-year-old virgin oven.
But it
Yeah,
won't be
God.
like haha, I'm gonna get a dumb fridge. It's like there won't be any dumb fridges, and then the fridge you have
Right.
to get is expensive. Like that's how it
Yeah.
works. You know what I mean? Even if these little tiny, not all of there are dumb appliances still out there. It's a thriving market. Maybe this will, but like it just the degree to which like this stuff matters
Yeah.
substantially, and which like fucking
Right.
micron killing crucial. You know, like that shit is bad. That's bad. That's so bad. That's like the UN should step in bad. You know, like they should send helicopters being like, you're gonna make more RAM and you're not gonna put in data centers.
It's really
I mean,
funny.
that's the thing. I think that, the AI future is never coming. And I don't know, cite this if I have to one day eat my words. But like, what I worry about is like, does it take the rest of us down with it? Where at least when like NFTs in the metaverse died, it didn't really matter to any of us. We just got to laugh at them. But
Yeah,
here
all
I
my
do
apes
worry.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
here
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 I
I
do worry
do
that it
because every
am I
single
an
consumer
ape?
electronic
Yeah.
device
Like,
depends in some ways on the things that they're buying
yeah.
and making more rare. Yeah, that really does worry me.
There's a lot of blogs about AI, and I think the best one I've read in a while was by The Verge, which is Large Language Mistake, which is about how language isn't thought. It's talk to every like ethicist, linguist, and everyone's like, oh shit, if language isn't thought, we built an entire industry on a mistake because you can have thought without language. You can have thought and be unable to process language. Therefore, large language models do not think. They are just language prediction models. Therefore,
Yeah, but
you
everyone knows
cannot
that.
build, but like you cannot build something on that. Like you can't build a thing that thinks on top of something that does not have thought. You know what I mean? Like it cannot be. It's like the vampire. I think a bunch of people came to this conclusion, but it's the devils in Freerin. The devils in
Oh yeah,
Freerin are AI. They look like people. They talk like people. They are not people. They are like a thing. They're like a mockingbird. They're like a parasitic organism. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If to
yeah.
the extent that they are organism, you know what I mean? Like it is a thing that mimics speech. It is not. And but check out that
Yeah.
Verge article. It's from November. I'm glad they commissioned it.
All
Um,
right. Mystic Eddie T says, how much priority do you place on owning DRM-free versions of games you like when they're available, whether from GOG or elsewhere? When is it most relevant to your purchasing decisions, and how much of a premium do you think you're willing to pay for DM-free versions in those cases? I never think about this. Sorry.
I don't either, but I know that I should.
I know that I should, but I just don't.
I like when it happens. I like when it happens when it's. I think GOG in particular is good because a lot of them are things that they're maintaining, and I think that like the maintenance of games is much more involved thing than even people like to talk about. Even things where like people are talking about like, oh, this runs on Windows. It's like sorta not really that much
Mhm.
anymore. Like there is a lot
Yeah.
of maintenance that has to happen to keep a thing relevant, even if it's like on Windows, just because it isn't like a Windows 3X thing or a Windows 98 thing. Like compatibility takes a lot, and so keeping these things open source is something I treasure for retro games that have been like made modern.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Most of the time, I just it's unfortunately it's Steam. You know, it's like it's there. You know, and it's usually on sale.
Yeah.
In the case of something like horses, yeah, then like itch gets my money. You know, I mean they by
yeah,
default.
yeah, yeah. I feel you on that. I Once Was a Cat asks, if you had to choose a game show host to host the Gamer Awards, who would you choose and why? I would go with Regis Philbin, a host to once erstwhile host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, because that's what the Game Awards are about. Who wants to become a millionaire?
Hmm.
He would just
Who hosts Family Feud?
Steve Harvey thinking about killing myself.
Thinking about killing myself.
I
Bang!
think
One of the
about
best.
when I was really depressed this year, that was what I was hearing in my head every
Who
day.
else has intrusive thoughts and likes that one like 3-second clip from
Yeah,
Twitter?
no, that was my
Sorry
my
for thought. Yeah.
audio stem for a very long time.
Uh,
I'd wake up mega depressed and then just hear in my head thinking about killing myself.
I'm not going to do a Steve Harvey voice. That is not my right. However, I do think
Right.
it would be funny to mentally imagine Steve Harvey reacting to many different AAA games. I think I'm just gonna let you guys use your imagination. It's the most
Yeah.
wonderful resource you have. Now imagine him reacting to Expedition 33.
I know I just want to know what he would say. Tell me that would be really good.
You know who I could see? I guess he doesn't host the game show, but Graham Norton. I feel like
Oh,
he's
Graham
always
Norton would do a
he's
great
always so
job.
gently impressed with everything and kind of fun, and I could see him being
Yeah,
a
yeah, you
I
know.
feel like he's crucially a little bit bitchy. Like not
yeah, but
overly bitchy.
in a
Yes.
nice way. Yeah,
It's bitchy in a way that you can laugh with him even if he's
yeah,
making fun of you. He's
yeah,
saucy or cheeky, I guess is what they would call it.
Sorry,
yeah.
I
I
just
could
had
see
to
that.
go to Graham Norton's Wikipedia and Control F trans and then okay, good. I
I
agree.
don't want to know.
Sorry,
No.
older British man. You got it. You always got to do that. The
Yeah,
answer
that's
is
true.
the answer is he didn't like J.K. Rowling or was critical. Good. Doesn't
Yeah,
think
I
cancel
think
culture
he
exists. Great. Sounds great. Yeah, put him in there. Why not?
put him in there. We like that. We like that. Routine got me so good with a scare. All I could do afterwards was mutter. This is Mechtroid, by the way. Was mutter. Well played, you right bastards. When's the last time a developer made you feel the same sense of begrudging respect? And because I'm reading the questions, I'll answer first. For me, it was the first time I played Amnesia. I am not a person who can play scary games. I don't know why I tried
Oh,
it, and I
sorry.
don't know why I loaded it up on my laptop at midnight when everyone else in the house is asleep. But I got to the first time when you are 100% sure that the monster is present and near you. And I force quit the game. I was so scared. I force quit the game and then immediately deleted the exe. Like it wasn't enough that I like uninstalled it. I also needed to remove every file that existed from it off of my computer.
I,
I didn't want my laptop to be haunted by this.
I,
And I respect that. I do.
sorry, people get mad at me. An important correction: Graham Norton is Irish. I apologize. I
Ugh,
apologize so much. That's why you're cool.
yes,
that is the
exactly.
whole reason you're cool is because you're Irish. I apologize. I'm so sorry.
Dubuque is like, just in case Mr. Norton decides to tune in. It'd
Sure,
be an
yeah.
honor. Yeah.
I just haven't heard him talk
Um,
in a while.
yeah. Do you have an example of having a begrudging respect for a developer that got you good?
I have them in my head.
Yeah, I can't think of a
I
specific.
think I would have. I think Silk Song thinks it has those moments, and then I find them annoying.
Yeah.
I think Silk
Yeah.
Song does a
Silk
lot of
Song.
the Reddit version of those sometimes, and I don't
Yeah.
mean that disrespectfully. I just find like them being clever to be like. There was a couple of those in Avowed that were pretty good. I would say Avowed has a
Yeah.
very good hits you in the nuts thing, and Silksong does that and then just keeps doing them, and I'm like, who is this for, man? I don't. This is
I
for Reddit, you know, a little
I
bit.
really like one of those times that a game developer really got me is from Soft again, but it's in Elden Ring. There's a moment where you first transition into a new area, and you hear in the distance it's very windy, and you hear in the distance the sound of wolves, and you hear them, and you're like, where are those wolves coming from? And then like a bluster goes through the area you're in, and the wolves fall right on top of your head and
Oh, the
kill
wolves
you.
are so good. Yeah, that area is that's so funny.
It just made me laugh so hard the
Yeah,
first time I played it.
they're
Where are those wolves coming from? Oh fuck! It's
yeah.
really great.
From's been doing that forever, and so like Armored Core. There's just so many times where they're fucking good at that shit.
Yeah, they are doing physical comedy. I think a lot of the time it's
Yeah,
slapstick to me.
yeah, it's really good.
Do you have an example, Riley, or should I move on to the next question?
I guess off the top of my head, there was a couple of moments in the Seance of Blake Manor, which I haven't finished yet, where you do something that I think in other games you would be fine, but instead it ends your game. And I remember when it happened, I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this, but it's the beginning of a video game. I'll be fine. Then it was like, you lost. And I was like,
It's always
obviously, yes.
yeah. I
But
do like when a game doesn't babysit you for stuff like
yeah,
that, and they're just like, oh, you want to see what happens? Well, you die. Fuck you.
yeah.
Like that.
Because you think like, surely not. This
Oh
is a
man.
video game. It's like,
Also,
damn
I
it.
realized Octopath Zero came out like last week, and I should probably play that.
Like, hell yeah. Capdraw asks, what is your favorite game you played this year that did not come out this year? I say as I open my Steam library. I'm always playing games from other years. Dwarf Fortress is the easy answer. There's the Siege update, which really scares me. because it means that invaders can dig also now. So you can't just rely on like making layers. They can dig into your fortress. And that means I have to change the entire way I think about fortress security, which I'm already not very good at. So that scares the shit out of me. Mixolumia is a perennial favorite for me. A little to the left, I played a lot of this year and really, really, really liked it. Um, and there's a lot of games that came out this year. Oh, Uma Musume also came
Yeah,
out
yeah.
this year, but didn't really come out this year. I love that game. There's a lot of good games, it turns out.
Yeah.
Guess
Thrasher.
what?
Thrasher came out this year,
Thrasher.
even though it was like trapped in the fucking hell that is like proprietary VR. Like it was available for like the Meta Quest and the fucking Vision Pro, and got to imagine like 5 people played that shit on the Vision Pro because 5 people own a Vision Pro.
Yeah, no, I know
And
someone that got one recently, and I was like, Thrasher, that's the only thing you can play.
can I just say, every time I've walked into an Apple store, like I came out when there was like the new AirPods came out because I needed to review them. I needed a new copy, and I've never seen like you see a busy Apple store. Next time you're in an Apple store, like on launch day, if you ever are, look at the Vision Pro table because nobody's there. In a
It's so
Not even
interesting.
to sit down. Like it's like whenever you see like a sterilized part of a petri dish. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it is the way that people not only didn't want the product, they like negatively wanted the
They
product.
did not want to pay money for it.
No, not whatsoever. And it's just really fascinating to me, just the way that that company has fallen in terms of its, the Issey Miyake like fucking iPhone sling. That's just like one in a million different weird design decisions they've made that feels so antithetical to the design decisions that made them so
I do
ubiquitous
kind
in
of
the
like
first
that
place.
though. I do kind of like the Uzumaki sling. I think I could, but I also like the Uzumaki. I do
Yeah,
really
that's
like
right.
Izzy.
Like they've realized suddenly that not every customer for Apple is someone who likes Issey Miyake, you know?
But those things sold out importantly because we have a K-shaped
Yeah.
economy, and
Yeah.
K-shaped economy. Let's go. Stock market's great. Everyone else can't eat.
Okay. DeCresney, I play Nightreign on PC. But Drew asks, maybe too late, what's your favorite username you've ever used for an account? For me, the answer to this question is I I when I was a teenager, my AIM username was OMG, it's Gita, what the fuck, LMAO, ZZZZZZZZ. And that was incredible for AIM because it always looked like someone was really excited that I was there when I like logged on, or that everybody, when they got an alert that I was there, it just seemed like everyone was very excited for me. I think that's the best username I've ever had.
Mine is the one I still have, which is based on
Papa Pichu.
it's Curse of Monkey Island. I think I refuse to change it because, despite probably being very easy to do at this point, because I feel like there is an important part of being of where you came from on a forum, and I think like it not leaving your heart is important to
Yeah.
being kind of humble in a weird way as a writer. And I
Yeah.
think that like I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it is for me, and that's what's important. But it's the
Yeah.
noise that you make. It's the noise that's it's the native word in Curse Monkey Island that means ouch. And every time, and if you read the plaque that tells you that, it replaces all instances of the word ouch with Papa Pichu later. And
I like that.
it's a very funny contextual joke. It only makes sense like, and it's like a running gag that only makes sense if you read a description.
I love that. Riley, do you have any memorable usernames?
No, I'm neither creative nor passionate about usernames.
Oh, you're just Riley everywhere.
Boring, yeah.
I guess your most memorable username is Riley.
Yeah, I've done enough with names.
Valid
Worked hard enough.
Yeah. All right. That has been Aftermath Hours. You guys, we did it. And Nathan's not even
All
here. We record this podcast live every week on Twitch. I don't remember all the stuff that Nathan says at the end of the episode, but
Pay us
subscribe to
money.
Aftermath. Pay us money. If you pay us money, you can ask us questions in the mailbag weekly. We'll be here next week at 4 p.m. And you can also listen to the podcast. I mean, you might be listening to it not live on Fridays.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for coming. We love you. We love you. And have an unhappy Game Awards.
Do whatever you gotta do. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not your dad.
All right. Bye bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Bye.